Modified fasting is one of the best things that I did to heal my gut that really leaped me forward in healing and starting to feel better. Today, I'm going to talk about modified fasting, the fasting that I did, what it is, who might benefit from it, and also how you can either research more on your own or try it out for yourself. Modified fasting is when you fast, meaning not eating solid foods, but you're still getting calories and nutrients. The products that are available for modified fasting now are basically giving your body already broken down nutrients. So like for instance, instead of eating a protein like a piece of steak, and then your body breaking it down into amino acids that your body can use to function better, the product, the modified fast product, which comes in a powder form, has amino acids in it that your body doesn't have to break down. And it does this with fat and all of the other vitamins and minerals that your body needs. So the product that I use is called Elemental Heal. It was developed by Dr. Michael Ruscio, who is a functional medicine doctor who really leans on research and science and doing his own research as well to find ways to heal the gut. He's a specialist in the gut, and he wrote a book called Healthy Gut, Healthy You, which I read, and I did the whole protocol for healing my gut, and I still wasn't healed. I didn't feel that much better, and so that's when I decided to do the modified fast that he talks about and suggests in his book. So again, his product is called Elemental Heal. It's a powder that you put in liquid, in water, and you drink it throughout the day. Excuse me. There's about 480 calories in a dose, if you will. So I was taking about 480 calories a day. It's 360 from his actual product, and then you can add additional good fats, so coconut oil, MCT oil, olive oil, something like that, to get extra fats. The reason why a modified fast is really powerful and why I decided to do it versus, maybe other kind of fasting, which I had done intermittent fasting before. But the thing is that you can go a longer period of time when your body is still getting nutrients and calories. So I went 11 days without eating, and it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. And actually, to be honest, it was a really nice, respite from not needing to cook or figure out what to cook, because especially when you don't feel well and your stomach hurts and you're not sure what is going to make you feel okay, especially, and you have to eat all the time. Like, I was just not inspired to be cooking or eating. So it was a nice, it was nice to just not have to eat for several days. Of course, there were moments where I was kind of like, I think halfway through I would have a couple of a cucumber slice or two every once in a while just to chew. But gosh, I basically didn't eat anything at all for 11 days. The analogy that Dr. Ruscio uses in his book is that, if you broke your foot and it needed to heal, you wouldn't just keep walking on your foot for months. It would take forever to heal, and it probably wouldn't even heal properly because you're just constantly using it. It needs to be rested. You need to use crutches. You need to get off your foot so that your body can heal. Similarly, our digestive systems are working all the time. When we're feeding it all the time, it needs to take those materials and break them down into the nutrients that our body needs. And then, it has a lot of work to do. And as we know, the gut is doing so much of the work in our bodies to make our bodies function, right? So when you can go many days not having to eat solid foods and giving it nutrients without it having to work really hard to break those nutrients down into usable forms, it can use that energy to renew and regenerate itself, What an amazing thing the body is, how it can regenerate itself. And in fact, the gut apparently can renew itself like within days. So part of this work is just to help our guts to do the work that it knows how to do already by giving it some time and space to do that. So again, I went 11 days and my experience was really positive. I had a much better mood. I had much better energy. I was, again, happy to like not be spending all my time in the kitchen, like cooking things from scratch like I would do, because, you've got to eat things from scratch when your body is just not feeling well. And this came to me at a time when, again, I just really didn't know what was making me feel like crap. And by day 11, I was ready to eat, but I certainly wasn't starving or hungry. And when you start to come off of the diet, you'll want to kind of ease into it by taking in a few ingredients at a time. You want to have cooked vegetables, things that are easy for your body to digest, like squash and zucchini and stuff like that. Maybe green beans, not raw vegetables, not super hard things. Of course, not like processed sugars and stuff. The suggested for a modified fast is somewhere between 1 and 3 weeks. And of course, the longer you go, the more your gut is going to be able to repair itself. If that feels extreme for you at this moment, you can also start with just replacing one meal at a time. So, cutting out processed sugars and things like that, but you could just have breakfast be your elemental heal, or your beverage, your fasting beverage. And then you have lunch and dinner, or probably a better way to do it would be to have breakfast and lunch and then have your dinner be elemental heal. And then maybe you go 2 meals, and that's going to help your body as well. You're still creating time and space where it doesn't have to do all of the full breakdown of digesting foods. And then maybe after you do that for a little while, you're going to be comfortable and want to do a longer fast. When would it be a good time to do a modified fast? There has been actually quite a bit of research on modified fasting with specific gut and digestive and other issues, primarily around SIBO, so small intestine bacterial overgrowth, IBS, and Crohn's disease. One study that I read from Dr. Ruscio is that a whole bunch of people who had tested positive for SIBO and who had been diagnosed with IBS did 2 weeks on a modified fast, and 80% of the people with SIBO tested negative for SIBO after doing the 2-week fast, and 65% who had IBS before had tested negative. Well, I guess I don't know if there's actually a test for IBS, or their symptoms were so low that they were not considered to have irritable bowel syndrome after this 2-week fast. Those are extraordinary numbers, 80% and 65%. Those are really great. So the other thing that I understand, if I understand correctly, I don't have SIBO, or I've never been diagnosed with it. So, don't do your own research on this, but from what I understand, people who have small intestine bacterial overgrowth have trouble with fiber, which is mostly fruits and vegetables. And as we know from the liver episode that I did and from several other episodes, fiber is the key to unblocking our systems, to moving out stagnation in our bodies, to us being able to get rid of the heavy things that cause all of these diseases that we're talking about. So if you're having trouble with digesting or dealing with fiber, it sounds like a really tough thing to go through. So if you have SIBO or IBS, I think you're a great candidate for doing a modified fast for, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There's also been quite a bit of research on people with Crohn's disease and colitis and this literally getting rid of their Crohn's disease or huge leaps forward in, healing Crohn's. There's quite a bit of research as well for people with autoimmune diseases and rheumatoid or arthritis, and overcoming their symptoms and their diagnoses through modified fasting. It's also very well documented, and I can attest to this, as I told you. People with, it improves mood, people with fatigue issues, helps with sleep, mental clarity. I had all of those improve vastly just in the 11 days that I was doing the fast. So really something to look into if you have some of these chronic, long-term, inflammation-based, all of the, like arthritis and autoimmune stuff is also, it's very connected to inflammation. Most chronic disease is linked to inflammation, as we know, and so this is very anti-inflammatory. And so really, if you're dealing with any kind of long-term or chronic symptoms, I think this can be really helpful for you. So you can check out Dr. Ruscio at drruscio.com. It's Ruscio, Dr. Michael Ruscio. There are other elemental diets or modified fast diet products on the market. You can look into those. One of the reasons why I decided to take Elemental Heal is for taste. I drank the chocolate and lemonade. I think he has chocolate, lemonade, vanilla, and maybe one other one. I think I did just chocolate and lemonade. And when you think about not eating for 11 days, taste is going to make a big difference. And so it was really good for me to have something to taste, and I could kind of switch it up and do like chocolate in the morning and lemonade in the afternoon, or one day and then the other kind of thing, and that really helped. What else? There is an elemental diet that you can do at home that is, let me look it up. I got this through Dr. Ruscio, but in fact he credits Dr. Allison Seebecker with it, and her website is siboinfo.com. And so this is a homemade elemental diet. If you want to find out about other options, you can search for elemental diet or modified fast, elemental diet, like play around with those. So this one is basically amino acid. You buy like a bag of amino acid product, honey, an oil, so like MCT oil, coconut oil, olive oil, something like that, and salt, good salt, like sea salt or something, and you can make it at home. Oh, and it also has a multivitamin component to it. What I've heard is that it doesn't taste very good, which again, maybe is why I decided to do Elemental Heal. And I've also heard that about the other products out there, that mostly they don't taste, do take taste into consideration, because it is going to have an impact on how long you can go. So that's all about modified fasting. I think this is if you've been struggling for a long time and you just can't figure out what is making you not feel well, if you're dealing with inflammation, anything going on in the gut, for sure, like whether you have a diagnosis or not, this is definitely going to give your body some of the space it needs to simply regenerate itself, no matter what you have going on in your body. So something really great to consider. Let me know if you do it in the comments, and what your symptoms are before and after. And here's to being well. See you in the next video.